You know, it's frustrating when you have to explain something to someone time and time again, yet they simply refuse to understand it. This guy, Richard Wolff, I've talked about him before. He's a professor and one of the most prominent Marxists in the US today. He's a labor theory of value guy, of course, tries to convince people that your boss is inherently exploiting you. So he's a nut, but he's a prominent nut. But look at what he's saying here. He's trying to blame the chaos this virus has caused on capitalism. Now, it takes 2 seconds to look up. The chaos of both the number of coronavirus infections and deaths and the economic hardships we're suffering from now were completely caused by the government. It was the FDA and its regulations that tied the hands of private businesses that were ready and willing to distribute testing kits. And yes, those businesses are in it for the profit. I don't care, and no reasonable person should care. Because if we had gotten those out, we could have known far quicker and earlier who was infected, and we could have made sure they were quarantined so they wouldn't infect anyone else. We could not do that directly because of the FDA. And just a reminder to Professor Wolff and all other socialists and Marxists out there, the FDA is a government institution. Government, by definition, is public, not private like what you have in capitalism. It's really pretty simple. Government is the collectivized aspect of our society. Collectivization, something Marxists and socialists generally favor. Private business and private economic activity is involved in actual free market capitalism. Public goods, public services, and public institutions are what comprises everything antithetical to capitalism in our society, and it was our public institutions that stood directly in the way of private businesses that were ready, willing, and able to help. So Professor Wolff has got it seriously backwards here. And here's another little point. Where did the coronavirus come from? Did it come from some bastion of free markets? No, it came from a Marxist-drenched country, China. China, who not too long ago was pummeling a little tiny place called Hong Kong, which is obviously far more market-oriented than China is, and it just so happens wipes the floor economically with China and has a ridiculously higher standard of living than mainland China and the vast majority of other cities in China. Go figure. But anyway, the virus came from a place far more oriented to your socio-economic ideology, that being more Marxist-oriented. So don't be blaming this in any way on capitalism. Free markets are not at fault for today's disaster. Again, was it not our public entities that forced a shutdown that now seemed to be hysterical and unnecessary, especially considering the new reports coming out about both the highly contagious yet far less lethal nature of the coronavirus, which, not for nothing, I made a video a few weeks ago on exactly that. But the mayhem we're experiencing now is a direct result of those democratically elected leaders that hold public office. Public, again, being the key word here, not private, not capitalistic, not free market oriented. It was the collectivized powers that be that brought on the mayhem and tied the hands of private enterprises that were geared up to give us a head start. So it's really weird that Richard Wolff would say, quote, a rational economic system would have learned to plan and manage them. But that's just it. We shouldn't have a planned economy, and the institutions that are a bit more removed from our planned economy, those anarchistic Wild West type companies, they were all ready to go. So I don't know what damn planet this guy is on, but it sure isn't Earth. But that is all for now. Please like, subscribe, and take it easy, everyone.